Thank you, Mr. Trout. We'll call this meeting to order and start with roll call. Mrs. Gray.
Mr. Allen?
Here.
Mr. McClellan?
Here.
Mr. Melcher?
Here.
Mr. Wall?
Here.
Mrs. Hine? Here. Mr. Carl?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Thank you, Mrs. Gray. Move on to A5, revision of the agenda. Mr. Trout, do you have any revisions to the agenda tonight?
Yes, we have a few this evening. Mr. Allen, under consent agenda, item F5, personnel report. We need to remove certified staff recommendation for employment, Laura Rush, math, Huntington North High School. We need to add a certified resignation of Janelle Force, sixth grade teacher at Crestview Middle School, effective 5/23/25. Megan Schuler, special education teacher, essential skills at Crestview, effective date 5/23/25. Lastly, for your consideration, we'd like to add the following ECA assignments for summer band instruction. They would be Emily Easley, Connor Smethers, Victoria Taylor, Gavin Utterbike.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Would anyone like to make a motion reference the changes to the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the recommendations at the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any discussion or conversation before we vote? Hearing none, we'll vote on the changes to the agenda. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to core values. B1, core values discussion.
This is always an exciting time for our board meetings where we can celebrate our staff and students, and tonight is no exception because we have that tonight. And so we're going to talk about EL programming, our HCCS adult English classes. So we invite you to come to the front. When I read your name, if you would please come forward. Elijah Eckert, Annette Little, Ian Lindsay, John Petrovich, Ruth Ann Rust, Abby Grube, and Angie Grube. Our EL teachers and English teachers, under the leadership of our EL director, Angie Grube, have launched adult English classes that meet on Monday and Wednesday nights at Lincoln Elementary School. These free classes welcome all HCCS EL families and focus on helping parents learn to read, speak, and write in English. The program demonstrates our staff's dedication to going above and beyond their regular duties. Not only are they providing excellent instruction to our EL students during the school day, but they're also strengthening school-to-home connections by directly supporting our EL parents in their educational journey. By empowering parents with English language skills, our EL team is creating a ripple effect that benefits entire families, strengthens our school community. When parents can better communicate and engage with their children's education, student success increases significantly. This initiative exemplifies our core values of compassion through service to families, responsibility in meeting community needs, and excellence in educational support that extends beyond the classroom. We are grateful for the dedication of Angie Grube and our EL and English teaching staff who recognize that supporting our families is essential to supporting our students. Great job. Well done. So great.
Oh, you got your collar.
Next up, we'd like to recognize our Riley Dance Marathon at Huntington North High School for the 24-25 campaign. Tonight, I'm pleased to share how our students are living our core values through Riley Dance Marathon at Huntington North High School. So we invite to come forward as well. Mia Klein, Emma Alford, Maddie Chandler, Andrew Chopson, Lauren Rust, and advisors Chelsea Hainline and Jackie Kanzler. If you would please come forward. This year, our students raised $28,383.15 for Riley Hospital for Children, a record-breaking amount in the 8 years Huntington North has participated. These funds support palliative care and the Magic Castle cart that brings daily joy to young patients. Under President Ella Newton and Vice President Mia Klein's leadership, students built positive community connections, secured business sponsorships, strengthened corporation relationships, and increased dance marathon attendance. Emma Alford will lead as president next year. Students fundraised year-round through Nelson's chicken sales, spooky bags, Valentine's carnations, car shows, pickleball tournaments, final exam kits, duct tape at teacher events, apparel sales, and miracle minutes at sporting events. This program exemplifies our core values: compassion through service to sick children, responsibility through a sustained commitment, integrity in fundraising efforts, and excellence in record-breaking results. I don't want to miss this. The success of Riley Dance Marathon demonstrates what our students accomplish when motivated by something greater than themselves. We are so proud of their dedication and positive community impact. Again, let's join me in congratulating our students and their tremendous efforts. Well done. That concludes our core values.
Alrighty, we'll move on to C1, items from visitors. This is the time for public comment. At this time, the public may address the board. We ask you to sign your name and announce your name when you step up to speak, and ask you to be concise and keep your comments to around 5 minutes or less. We have one person signed up for public comment, Jacqueline Kanzler.
Making sure it's, can you guys hear me okay? All right. I am going to keep this a lot shorter than last time I addressed you all. Promise. And I have goodies for you tonight too. So, my name is Jackie Kanzler, and I come to you as one of the people of the state of Indiana and a teacher in the Huntington County Community Schools. Mr. Allen, school board members, and administrators, I'm here to actually serve you a notice of maladministration and an affidavit of myself to you. The people have served hundreds of notices to the school board and to the local and state government officers from November 27 of 2024 through March 3 of 2025, instructing you to provide remedy in order to immediately correct the employee guide handbook showing claims, each of which were supported by the expressed written constitutional text and the highest law, the maxims of law. You were given specific amounts of time to rebut and controvert the law and claims provided by the people in the above-mentioned notices, and there was no public response sworn by affidavit under penalty of perjury. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to serve you an affidavit sworn under penalty of perjury that the law I served you was in fact right. And as of now, you are in maladministration. So I'm going to serve you an affidavit that I'm swearing under oath of penalty and perjury that I am 100% correct in the law. And I'm just going to read it to you, and then I'm going to serve it to you. Affiant Jacqueline K. Kanzler, one of the people, as seen in the Indiana Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, Republican informed sui juris, do serve you, Tim Allen, Ryan Wall, Aaron Carl, Matt Melker, Deb Miller, Gary McClellan, and Carrie Hyam, this affidavit in this court of record to make the following claims that you provide due care. Please take notice it is a guaranteed right and duty of the people to assemble together to consult for their common good regarding the employee policies found in the employee guide handbook for Huntington County Community Schools. There should be no law restraining any of the people from instructing their government servants, which is you, the school board, to redress of grievances. The people shall not be restrained from exercising their constitutional right to the free interchange of thought and opinion. Please take further notice as school board members. You are elected agents, also known as servants, for the HCCSC within the state of Indiana, and are bound in good faith to fulfill the duties of office by your oath to uphold the Indiana Constitution. As servants, you are bound to uphold all reserved rights of we the people. Any failure on your part to protect the rights is a breach of trust, indenture, and your oath of office for which you have sworn. Facts. Claim 1. On October 28, 2024, the HCC School Board, this affiant presented all members of the school board and administrators evidence of the constitutional law that legislature has no power to write statutes that violate the rights of the people. All statutes, codes, policies, and ordinances must be in pursuit to the Constitution. Neither Indiana legislature nor any agency, such as the Indiana Department of Child Protective Services, DCS entity or school corporation, has been granted the authority in the Constitution to remove a child over the objection of either of the parents of such child. Similarly, no authority exists mandating teachers to work as agents with such agencies or entities. This is recorded and witnessed to you by Eddie E. Kanzler. Claim 2. On November 17, 2024, Affiant plus 463 people sent via JOT form a lawful court of record titled Notice of Danger of Maladministration Permitting Operation of DCS and HCCS to all school board members and school administrators. A response was demanded within 10 days of receipt of this notice, and no response was attached. Claim 3. On December 7, 2024, Affiant sent an email to Mr. John Trout, Mr. Chad Brimberry, and Mr. Matt Roth, former school president, confirming the JOT forms are received. Mr. Trout confirmed they were received. See evidence in the envelope I will be providing. Claim 4, on December 23, 2024, Affiant hand-delivered printed copies of people's notices to Mr. John Trout, Mr. Chuck Brimberry, Mr. Pat McLaughlin, and Mr. Matt Roth at the school board office. Mr. John Trout and Cynthia Gray received this delivery. Claim 5, on January 16, 2025, the Affiant plus 84 people sent via JOT form a letter titled Point of Clarity regarding members' binding oath to Mr. Tim Allen, new school board president. All members of the school board were CC'd to Mr. Trout and school administrators. A response for demand by February 10, 2025, and no response was given. Claim 6. On February 10, 2025, Affiant attended a school board meeting and requested to speak as one of the people, and Affiant was denied her freedom of speech and the right to redress grievance found in the Indiana Constitution Bill of Rights, witnessed by Eddie E. Kanzler. Claim 7, on February 10, 2025, Affiant hand-delivered 84 printed copies of each of the people's point of clarity to Mr. Tim Allen. After serving Mr. Allen with the letter, he stated that a meeting would be scheduled to address the letter. Claim 8, on February 11, 2025, Affiant sent an email to Mr. Allen requesting a meeting, and on February 14, 2025, Mr. Allen responded and a meeting was set for February 19, 2025. Claim 9, on February 19, 2025, Affiant met with Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen stated changing the policy handbook pertaining to the mandate of teachers reporting to CPS would be a challenge due to 2 issues. 1, a state statute, which was overcome by the Constitution of the United States and the state of Indiana, and funding. On February 26, 2025, Affiant requested to speak to be put on the agenda for the school board meeting on March 10, 2025. Request was denied, which abrogated the affiant's constitutional rights of free speech and redress of grievance as guaranteed in the Indiana Constitution. Claim 11, on March 2nd, 2025, Affiant sent email to Mr. Allen asking clarifying questions of why Affiant was denied her freedom to speech at a public board meeting. A response was given. See evidence in the envelope I will provide. April 22, 2025, Affiant had meeting with Dr. Deggets to inform him of a notice of maladministration to be presented at the school board meeting to be held on April 28, 2025. A meeting was scheduled for April 24, 2025 with Mr. Trout, Mr. Allen, Mr. Ryan, and school attorney, Mr. Riley. Claim 13, on April 24, 2025, Affiant attended a meeting with Mr. Trout, Mr. Allen, Mr. Ryan, and Mr. Wiley. Affiant hand-delivered the notice of maladministration to each attendee at the meeting. Affiant gave evidence of maladministration and again demanded they provide remedy in order to immediately correct the employee guide. Claim 14, May 2nd, 2025, Affiant received an email from Mr. Trout with an attached letter of a response to the meeting held on April 24, 2025. This letter was also sent by certified mail. See attachment in envelope provided. Claim number 15, May 27, 2025, Affiant sent email to Mr. Trout in response to his letter. Please take notice, the affiant swears by affidavit under penalty of perjury that the above claims are true and that you are instructed to provide remedy in order to immediately correct the employee guide and showing claims, each of which were supported by the express written constitutional text, the highest law, and the maxims, which are automatically implied in any contract and universally accepted as being true rules and principles of law. You, the servant, who has sworn an oath to the Indiana Constitution, were given specific amounts of time to rebut or controvert the law and claims provided in the above-mentioned notices. There were no responses given by affidavit, point by point, given to any of the people or the affiant. Please take final notice that it is my wish, order, and demand that you provide remedy by revising the employee policies and the HCCS employee guide to remove any reference reporting child abuse to DCS. If you have failed to respond in writing submitted by affidavit sworn under penalty of perjury and postmarked to the address of me within 5 days upon receipt of this affidavit, the evidence or constitutional authority granted to you to do so, or you agree by tacit acquiescence that all statements herein in the notice shall stand as evidence and truth in the law in all courts of record, and you do violate my rights and the rights of the people. All responses not sworn under penalty and perjury are non-responses, and that no court can rehear this matter, and I reserve the right to have an arbitrator of my choice. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions. If you'd like to give me those, I will distribute them to the board. Anyone else like to make a public comment during this time?
You can keep mine. She wants it delivered to me. You have the sheriff's deputy. I have the bill.
We will move on to D, special presentation. One is food service topics, universal free breakfast and meal prices. Mr. Burgess.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here tonight to present HCCS food services and meal prices for school year 2025-2026. I believe Cindy has a presentation to put up on the screen for you all to see as well. And then with these changes, I'm also offering more detail and background than normal for everyone's greater understanding. Next slide, please. So here we have our proposed prices for meals next year, with the breakfast prices first as my proposal of student reduced price breakfast at 30 cents a piece, student full pay breakfast at $1.60, and adult breakfast set at $2. The IDOE recommendation for adult breakfast prices are at $2.38. The proposed lunch prices for student reduced price lunch for all schools would be at 40 cents lunch. For full pay elementary school lunch prices would be $2.45. Full pay for student prices at middle school and high school would be $2.95. Adult lunches at all schools would be $3.95. Again, the IDOE recommends $3.91. Milk would remain at 50 cents a piece. Next slide, please. The increasing cost of food, supplies, and equipment significantly influences meal prices, leading to adjustments in pricing for the upcoming school year. There has only been one student meal price increase since 2017. Meal prices are also adjusted according to budget needs, ensuring affordability and sustainability for students. An increase in meal prices is necessary to maintain food quality and to continue to follow increasingly strict USDA meal pattern guidelines. The actual changes to meal prices for school year 2025-2026 are as follows. The obvious one that is a big standout is a return to student paid breakfasts, 10-cent increase in full pay student lunches, an increase in adult meal prices to get closer to the IDOE recommendations. Next slide, please. A little bit of background of our department's funding sources. Federal funding plays a major role in supporting school meal programs across the country, ensuring accessibility and nutritional standards. This is the majority of our funding and is directly based on the number of meals sold each day. At the end of each month, I report our meal counts to the state, and they release funds based on how many meals we have sold. While we typically receive reimbursements for these meals within a month, it has taken up to 3 months for funds to reach our account at times. State funding also complements federal resources, providing additional financial support for local school meal initiatives and programs. This funding is very minimal, only comes once a year, and we do not know when we will receive it. Payments for full pay meals, reduced price meals, adult meals, and a la carte sales are also a significant revenue source, obviously. However, the Food Services Department, again, does not immediately receive these funds when purchases are made. As a point of necessary oversight, at the end of the month, our department sends sales reports to the HCCS Central Finance Department. They then move the funds from a holding account into the Food Services funds. All that explanation is to show that our breakfast and lunch programs are funded, if you will, after the fact. If there ever seems to be any kind of excessive funds in our accounts, it is because we have to stay ahead of our finances for these reasons. Next slide, please. The Universal Free Breakfast Program was initiated in school year 2020-2021 to address child hunger and improve nutrition among students during the pandemic throughout the United States. At that time, all meals were fully funded by federal dollars, which were at an all-time high. There were also significant supply chain subsidies on top of that helped keep K-12 food service programs afloat. The USDA ended funding for this program in June 2022, and these extra supply chain funds are no longer available. Not only did they stop fully funding breakfast for students, but the federal meal reimbursement that we were receiving at the time has significantly decreased across the board since then. As you can see from the graph on the board, in 2021, the reimbursement rate for a breakfast for a student who qualified for full pay meals was $2.46 a breakfast. Over the past 3 years, it has been 50 cents or less per meal. In other words, that is how much we get per meal per student for breakfast. And those 2 years where we got that funding, it was upwards of almost $2.50 a meal. At the time when the USDA stopped funding free breakfast for students, HCCS Food Services had a relative surplus of funds from the higher federal reimbursement rates during the pandemic. The decision was made to utilize these funds to continue offering breakfast to students in our schools at no cost as long as those funds were available. This surplus is now depleted, and to continue to fund free breakfast will soon be detrimental to the program. Next slide, please. Increasing food and supply price challenges challenge schools to maintain the quality of meals provided to students while staying within budget constraints. As the cost of food increases, without increased funding, it becomes impossible to improve the quality of food we serve to children. Regular maintenance and appropriate replacement of kitchen equipment is also essential to ensure efficient meal preparation and to avoid unexpected breakdowns. The cost of this has skyrocketed over the past 5 years, as it has in almost every industry, as I'm sure you are all aware. To give you an example of a typical piece of equipment that we use, a steamer that cost $9,000 in the year 2020 now costs $22,000. Looking to the future of funding, while several groups across the country continue to lobby at the state and federal level for increased funding for school meals and even for universal free meal programs, there does not appear to be any legitimate traction at the federal or local state level to offer this support. In the meantime, it is up to each local school corporation's food service department to properly fund these programs. I will say it has been a blessing to be able to offer free breakfast for students for the past 5 years. I hope that this helps kind of paint a picture of how we've been able to do so and gives you a better detail in the thought behind the proposed meal prices. So I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Appreciate the efforts that you're making on the food service side. I know that it's a challenge, and we know how important it is to make sure kids have something to eat, because some kids don't when they're not at school.
Absolutely.
So we really appreciate those efforts. Anybody have any questions before we? I would entertain a motion, reference his request.
Motion to approve the universal free breakfast and meal prices as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Is there anyone second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any discussion or conversation before we vote?
How many students did we serve breakfast to the last couple of years?
Last
On
year,
average.
let's see, we served 304,978 breakfasts.
For the entire year?
For the entire year. So as far as with the amount of revenue that we did not receive for serving the full pay and reduced price meal students, that means that we basically, out of our funds, paid for $186,000 of that. And then over the last 3 years, that comes to $572,000 out of food service funds.
Cool. Do you know on an average, though, how many students in the corporation took that 300,000 over the whole year? Do you know on a daily basis how many students actually took care of that?
Oh, on a daily basis, I could do the math quickly for you.
Just if you had it, great. If not, that's fine. But
I don't have that number.
But gut feeling, good majority of the students took advantage of it.
The participation went up significantly when it became universally free.
Okay.
It definitely made a difference that it was.
So compare that to breakfast versus lunch, then you see a drop in a number of students providing school lunches. Then
Yes, we do.
do you know on average, from a lunch standpoint, what that percentage is?
I would say probably kids that participate in the lunch program, probably about a 20% less
Okay.
participation currently.
Right. And then back when 2020, 2021, when it was free, both breakfast and lunch, we saw great participation then, correct?
It was, yes, absolutely.
Anything further? Good questions, Mr. Wall. Thank you. If we have nothing further, then we'll go ahead and vote on your request. Motion passes 7-0. Move on to D2, food services request for vendor approval.
That's me again. Hello again. This is about our awards for vendors for school year 25-26. They are all the same as they are this year and have been last year. They're all great vendors that have great reputations and great customer service as well. We work with a cooperative called Food to School. They're a purchasing cooperative. They consist of 97 school districts and have a projected annual sales volume of over $69 million next year, and serve the needs of over 230,000 students, which gives us great buying power with their negotiations. The following vendors will be renewed with HCCS for the 25-26 school year. Milk and Dairy will be DFA Dairy Brands, formerly Dean's Schenkels. The group purchasing organization is HPS, Gordon's Food Service and Commercial Foods, and chemicals, we use Smart Systems, which has been a great company in our district, not just for pricing, but also for their customer service and their help with our equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion, reference this item.
I make a motion to recommend the vendor approval for school year 2025-26.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any questions or discussion for Mr. Burgess? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Burgess,
Thank you very
very much. Thank you. Moving on to D3, EL program for the 2025-2026 school year.
We have over the years brought before you to present some very, very talented and skilled teachers, administrators, and coordinators, and tonight is no exception. As Angie Grube, our Director of EL and our EL coordinator for the district, is going to be presenting a snapshot for you of our current state of our EL program and projected growth of our program for 25-26. So Angie, thank you for being here and sharing with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Tonight I come to you to talk to you about something very dear to my heart, the English Learner Program. I've been blessed to be in Huntington schools for a large number of years, but a bigger blessing for me is the opportunity to work with these students and these families. So I just want to give you a little bit of information about the English Learner Program in case you don't know a whole lot about that. In the fall of 2016, HCCS began servicing English learners with one EL teacher of record, and at that time we had about 10 students. If you would go ahead, go to the next, sorry. In the fall of 2020, HCCS created the ENL classes at Crestview, Riverview, and Huntington North. There was a dedicated EL teacher of record at each of those schools, and I was blessed to be that teacher here at Crestview. In the fall of 2022, Crestview became the middle school hub due to rising enrollment. All of the English learners at the middle school level were brought here to Crestview, where I was again blessed to be able to be their teacher. And I actually had the opportunity this Sunday to present that first group of students that I was their main teacher with diplomas at graduation, so that was a special event for me. In the fall of 2023, the EL teacher of record split her time between teaching and coordinating the program. That was me. That was tricky, but it was something that I was very driven to do and wanted to do well. And when I took on that additional role of being the coordinator, I wanted to make sure that that program was being serviced the best way that it could. I, at that time, had two amazing elementary teachers who were servicing students at the elementary level, myself at Crestview, and then a teacher at the high school. In the fall of 2024, with the help of two English teachers at Huntington North, two EL-specific English classes were started at Huntington North. That has been a huge blessing. It gives us an opportunity to allow the students to do additional things that they may not get to do because of the service class that they're required to have. That we're required to provide for them. And then my position became a full-time position. I stepped away from the classroom, which was difficult at first and is still difficult at times for me, but it allowed the teacher here at Crestview to be fully dedicated to the students and offer them everything they could during the school day, and it gave me the opportunity to start working on some things that I really wanted to do for the English Learner Program. If you would go to the next slide, please. This is just a few of the things that we have done since I've been able to dedicate more time to being the coordinator. We started an adult English class. Many parents attend that. We had 23 people sign up to attend. We had 12 attend regularly, and the people that you saw earlier were great supports for that program. We have EL family nights. We used to have 4 a year. We are up to having one almost every night, and the attendance at those has doubled, where we have many families coming and engaging, interacting with each other. The kids, we provide information to the parents. The teachers take care of planning activities for the students to do, and it just is a great time, and it's a good way for us to connect and pour into those families and help make sure that they're getting everything that they can as part of our Huntington Schools family. And then we also this year, with the help of Annette Little, started some extracurricular exploration experiences. We took the boys and the girls to soccer games. The girls had to go to a volleyball game because their soccer game got canceled, but we took the boys to a soccer game. An EL student from the high school actually played on the team, and he autographed soccer balls for all the boys. It was a great experience. It was So it was great for him. It was great for the boys. We went to basketball games. Randy Hawkins here at Crestview was amazing. Since they'll be future Cougars one day, we brought them all here. We had shirts for them, and Randy had them come out on the floor, and they got to do lineups with as the kids were announced, the starting five. And so that was a very special opportunity for them. So this program means a lot to me, and I want to continue to do what's best for this program. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. If you would go ahead and go to the next slide. So our growth has continued to increase. As you can see, we had a drop off in 2022, 2023, but our growth has been steady at the K-5 level. We are projected to have 70 students K-5 in the fall of 25-26, and that's a huge number of students. Each one of those students, we are required to offer 120 minutes of service per week. And we currently have 2 elementary EL teachers to offer that service to the 6 schools. We have at least 1 student at every one of our elementary schools that qualify as an English learner. If you would go to the next slide, please. And you can see here our projected enrollment for next year. At Flint Springs, we're projected to have 15 students, Lincoln 32, Roanoke 1, Horseman 14, Andrews 2, and Salamone 6. So those are our projected numbers. If we were going to service our students, which is always our goal, the projected number of minutes they need, just at Lincoln alone, that would require 3,840 minutes of service for the 25-26 school year. And so as you look at all of the different schools, having 2 teachers to be able to do that is a bit of an impossible task, in my opinion. We've been making it work, but I don't know that we can make it work for much longer with what those kids deserve. If you would go to the next slide, please. This is just a breakdown of on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, but the one that hits me the hardest is the yearly basis. On a yearly basis, because of driving that we need to do to get to the different schools, we are losing 91 hours of instructional time. And that's a lot of time for these students who are not only operating in another language and trying to learn English, but just who need that extra additional support. And our teachers in the classrooms, our general education teachers, do an amazing job with these students. But it is our job as the English Learner Program to ensure that they're getting the support that they need additionally in their service minutes. And so that's a lot of time for us to lose. If you would go to the next slide, please. So I think that we can do better for our students. We do an amazing job here. I am very proud to lead this program. I have great teachers working every day. We have good relationships with the principals, with the school staff, with all of the people that are pouring into these kids, but I think we can do better. We are proposing a change in how we service the elementary English learner students who are enrolled in HCCS. We believe that these changes would be very beneficial if they are implemented for this upcoming school year. It would eliminate the loss of instructional time because we would no longer need to travel between schools. It would shore up the caseloads. The state of Indiana suggests that a caseload for an English learner teacher is 30 students. And so currently both of my EL elementary teachers would be over their caseload numbers. It would heighten our family engagement, and that's a huge piece for me. These families come and they stay. I have a friend who's a director in Southern Indiana, and she has a lot of movement in and out of her programming. And she's like, how do you deal with this? And I said, that just doesn't happen here. And they come and they stay. And in fact, they tell their relatives, oh no, come here. They take good care of us. They love our kids. They help us with other things besides just school. And that's very important to me. The attendance, like I said, at our family nights has doubled since last year. And I want these families to stay engaged, but I want to do even better for them. If you would go to the next slide. Thank you. So my proposal is that we create an English Learner Hub, and I am suggesting that be done at Lincoln Elementary. All of our schools, all of our elementaries are outstanding, and they have done amazing jobs with our students. but we already have 32 students who would be enrolled at Lincoln in the fall. Mrs. Yarger and I have worked for quite a while on making sure numbers would be within guidelines. We've done research. This isn't something that we just got together one day and said, oh, what do you think about this? It's been something we've been working on for a while. So it has been thought through and is something, like I said, that I've really wanted to see happen because I know it's what's best for kids. We could increase the support for our students. Family engagement would increase. We could enroll families easier and without a lot of hassle to them. There would be increased opportunities for professional development, increased opportunities for teacher support, collaboration. The list goes on. And Lincoln was chosen, like I said, because of the 32 students, but also it is a feeder school to Crestview, and the students do then transition to Crestview as middle school students. Next slide, please. Okay. So I truly believe a change is needed in order to serve our students in the best way possible. This is something that is dear to my heart. As I said, it's my why. It's been something I've been thinking about and really, really pushing for since I was able to come into this role. And I really hope that making personalization is part of our why as a school board and a district. Thank you.
Angie, thank you. So tonight, board, we are asking permission to pursue the option of designating Lincoln Elementary School as our hub for our EL program. You will see later on the consent agenda, we're asking for an additional EL teacher. So I just share that with you so that you're aware, due to the population and the growing population that we have of our EL students, we would like to add an additional EL teacher. I want to say, because Mrs. Yarger is here in our audience, she's been exceptional to work with. Her and Angie have done a masterful job of looking at an implementation plan, looking at classroom space, office space for our EL staff, and excited about moving forward with this program. And tonight we're just asking for your permission to have that opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Peters, and thank you, Mrs. Grube. I'll entertain a motion reference this item.
Motion to approve the 25-26 English Learners Program as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any questions or discussion for Mrs. Grube?
Yeah, well, we're all running out of room, right, in our buildings. We definitely have room with our kids districted to us without having to redistrict any of those. It will affect the number of kids I can accept on a transfer, but all the kids who are districted there will still be able to attend there. Yep.
Anything else for Mrs. Grube, Mrs. Yarger?
Thanks for looking at the program and coming up with a nice solution. I do like it.
Sorry, thank you. And I did want to mention, pending board approval, Mrs. Yarger and I will be going out tomorrow to visit every family and let them know that this is the direction we're moving if this is approved.
I'd just like to say I appreciate your efforts. I know this is a real challenge. I also know that the way you were doing it was much more of a challenge, so let's vote on the motion.
As we're voting, I would also like the fact that the community now knows if they need these services, they have one place to go and don't have to hunt around, and you'll be able to support them there too.
Yes, thank you.
Motion passes 7-0. Mrs. Grube will be anxious to hear the updates.
Absolutely.
This should be really something to see.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to E1 students in 2025 Kinder Kamp.
Tonight, board, we're asking for your approval to allow us to continue our Kinder Kamp program that we have offered for several years. This will run from July 21st to August the 1st, Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 noon at all of our elementary locations. The students will receive breakfast and lunch. Want to just do a shout out to our United Way, Sarah Kemp, our executive director, for their funding of this program, and also Huntington County Youth Services for their partnership in providing materials and supplies for the program. So just tonight, asking for your approval to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Would anyone like to make a motion reference the Kinder Kamp program?
I make a motion to approve the 2025 Kinder Kamp program as presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Heim. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Any questions or discussion before we vote? Thank you, Mr. Peters, for keeping this thing going. I know that there's a lot of kids that enjoy it, and when it was, did we miss it last year, year before? 2 years ago? Yeah, that was a deal. So, yeah. Anybody have questions, comments? Yeah, let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to E2, Calendar Committee Survey. Mr. Trout.
Yes, on May the 12th, we sent out a parent square to students in grades 6 through 12, all parents and all staff, and the survey remained open for 1 week. The question was pretty simple. Would you prefer to have the district implement traditional makeup days that are built into the school calendar rather than current practice of implementing virtual synchronous learning days for closures? We had 1,415 responses to that. So each email address could only have one response. What we received was 51.91% of the participants answered no to the question, and 48.09% answered yes. So, in other words, based on that vote, we will be building 3 years of calendar starting for the school year after next year, based on this information. And I just wanted to share that with you so you were aware of the results. If you're like my office, you will have a conversation among yourself to say if you thought that that's how it was going to come in or not.
Decisive.
Decisive, but that's the results of that survey people have been asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'm stunned that it's that close. I'm just surprised. So just to be clear, what they've decided is, or the no answers are no to changing it to traditional makeup days?
That is correct. So our future calendars will look very similar to what they are currently. Okay?
All right.
So, we've been hearing some discussion in the community about the importance of having makeup days. So that's why, before we built any more school calendars beyond next year, let's see what the community had to say, and this is what they have told us.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Move on to E4, 2025-2026 Foundational Program. Mr. Brimberry.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Wanted to ask for a board action item tonight on really a topic that I think Lynn Brown and I spoke of a couple of years ago, maybe 3, Lynn, and Mr. Trout and I have spent some time talking about, which is intentional programming to make sure we look at the years of transition, which would be grades 5th to 6th and grades 8 to 9 for us. We are well aware of multiple interventions that occur. Well, what we try to do is have intentionality of programming. Once we understand some of the challenges our kids have of trying to make sure that jump to the next building is more and more successful each year. So with tonight's board action item, I'm requesting that you approve, which will be paid for by a school liaison grant. And combination of our group was Meg Friesen, Dr. Diggets, Ms. Wappus, Mrs. Rachel Yarger, Ms. Brown, and consultation with Mr. Trout. But the idea is that for 5th to 6th, we'd identify some kids through Mr. Peters and his principals and MTSS process, and that we would encourage them for a couple days in late July with some teachers that we would pay through the grant to come in and look at 2 days where we encourage them through executive functioning skills, organizational skills, relationship building, counselors, nurses, SROs, teachers, all working together for a small group of kids that maybe we've identified coming from 5th to 6th. We would do a similar thing once they get to the high school with some programming for kids that we know might need some little extra from our staff. And so we look at how we would schedule classes, which teachers would have a few of the kids' commonality, some success classes that might be able to encourage them. We know, and I've spoken to Mr. Trout at length in our 3 years back together, that we know there's some interventions that help when they make these transition years. It's primarily due with culture, it's self-esteem building, but it's also foundation educational skills. So the programming I'm asking for your approval is step 1, and that's why it's called Foundations Program. And again, it won't cost us anything, but it literally is, it's a pretty progressive idea in terms of what can happen with a small group with intentionality of program for a few of the kids who need more. And we're going to try that with some 5th to 6th and some 8th to 9th next year. I'll bring you back the results as we will track the data closely. I will tell you our previous attempts at successful intentional programming, if you watched Graduation, you saw the dividends of some intentional programming with some of our staff. Angie was here tonight, SES Academy here tonight. Lots of different pockets and buckets of kids. And so this is another attempt with another group. And I would ask for your approval tonight for what is the first step called a Foundations Program, which will begin late in July and take effect next school year.
Thank you, Mr. Brumberry. I'd first like to apologize to Mr. Peters. I skipped over your item. I will get back to it. I'm sure Robert's rules will forgive me. I will entertain a motion for the foundational program.
Make a motion that we approve the 2025-2026 foundational program as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any questions or comments before we vote?
How many students do you think you're going to try to target this first year?
Right now, at least talking to our group, it is a voluntary program because the kids will be coming in 5th to 6th. I think we are hoping for around 25 kids for a couple of days that will take place at Crestview and train some of our teachers as well. Meg Friesen will be instrumental in working with our audiences as well as with teachers and so on. And the high school will identify somewhere between the 20 to 30 that are transitioning there. We will keep close data. These programs have been successful, highly successful, so we hope that not only it's successful, but we bring back next summer with a larger version of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brumberry. Anyone else have a question or comment? Let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Mr. Peters. Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's my fault.
I'm not trying to dominate.
No,
talking.
we're not sick of it yet. Go ahead, Mr. Peters. We'll move on to E3, Applied Skills Classroom for 2025-2026.
A lot of things happening in the elementary, again, as we go back and align ourselves with the mission of our district of every student every day. I'm asking tonight, again, permission to pursue the moving of our Applied Skills Classroom at Horace Mann to Salamone Elementary for the 25-26 school year. We were having space issues at Horace Mann. The Essential Skills Program continues to grow in need, requiring the addition of a third classroom section, of which you approved last September, and we just finally filled that with a teacher, and so we're really excited about that. But this third section will need the space that is currently occupied by our Applied Skills Program. The Essential Skills students have the handicapped accessible playground at Horace Mann, the adaptive impact classes through grants. The teachers at Horace Mann have been awarded the home location of our OT-PT staff. So leaving them there at Horace Mann makes the most sense and to receive those services. There are 18 applied skill students that are self-contained for part of their day, then they're out in the regular classroom for the other part of the day. These students are next level support up from resource. They have a mild intellectual disability, but they are on the diploma track, and we're excited about that. The teacher and 2 paraprofessionals would go to Salamone to support our applied skills students. Mrs. Kitchen is in the audience tonight. We've met with her as well as Mrs. Royst. There is space at Salamone for this, and so they approve, and working with them, would approve this. And so just asking tonight your permission to continue moving forward with moving the applied skills classroom from Horace Mann to Salamone for the 25-26 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. I'll entertain a motion reference this item.
Motion to approve the moving of applied skills classroom for 25-26 school year from Horace Mann to Salamone Elementary.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. I was wanting to ask, transportation?
It's a great question. I've met, along with Mr. McLaughlin and myself, met with Mrs. Fields in transportation. Her and her staff are working out the logistics of routing and what that would look like. Obviously, there are guidelines that we need to follow there to stay within those guidelines as far as the number of minutes that students are on buses. And so, obviously, adhering to that. But again, with your approval tonight, pursuing that logistics of routing and what that would look like for our students.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to the consent agenda, items 1 through 15.
For your approval tonight, we have 15 items listed. Mr. Peters, I do like you, so I'm coming back to you here. So you can help us out with this. I know you want to draw the board's attention to one item specifically in the personnel report.
We do. I would like to introduce, and obviously pending your approval, tonight we have with us Lauren Hogue. She has over 19 years of experience. I'm recommending her for our elementary professional development coordinator. She has a gifted and talented endorsement with her license. Past 6 years, she's been a 5th grade teacher at Andrews. She's been, for the past 2 years, providing professional development at Andrews. Last summer, Lauren also presented at the National Model Schools Conference on differentiating using data. So excited to bring Lauren on staff for our elementary PD coordinator.
So once approved, if Mrs. Hogue would like to say something, she could come up.
Absolutely, Mr. Trout. I let her know that you might be asking her to do that, and that you might want a picture too, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we want a picture too, Mr. Peters. So do you want to talk to a little bit, Jay, about number 6, the additional 2025 summer school staff?
Yes, due to the increased population of our EL staff, Angie will be doing summer school as well as Annette Little. Yeah, no, just Angie. Jeannie Poff, we've asked for additional support for Angie, and her name was not on the original list when we brought it to you at last board meeting. So we're just asking for Jeannie Poff as she will help and support Angie during our iRead summer school.
And board, I want to draw your attention to number 7, which was previously mentioned as the new certified position for the English learner teacher. That is there, but I'm requesting your approval of all 15 related items there this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'll entertain a motion reference the consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Would anyone like to pull any of the items from the consent agenda and vote it separately? Is there any questions or discussion about any of the agenda items?
thank the 4 groups that donated to the school corporation again, as always.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, the amount of support we get from the community. It's really, it's impressive and so important. Any other questions or discussion? Let's vote on the consent agenda. Motion passes 7-0. I was distracted by the squeaky chair.
Is that Mr. Sumter, is that Mr. Sumter
Sorry about
setting
that.
in?
Sorry about that. You weren't going to get away that easy.
Mrs. Hoag, I'm not going to make you. Is there anything, if you'd want to come up to the front, that you would like to say? How about a nice round of applause?
Just thank you to the board for your approval, and I'm so honored to be serving our community and our staff and our students in this role, so I'm very excited. So thank you so much.
Well, Lauren, we're excited to have you too. Mr. Butler, can we get a picture with Jay and myself? Okay, I know that she can't wait, so.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. As Mr. Trout gets back here, we will move on to G1, April 2025 financial reports.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. So we will have the April financials up here in just a moment. One of the first things that I'll point your attention to in the education fund, as I mentioned at the last board meeting, this is the time where they start using our February count versus our October count to adjust our state basic grant. So you'll see a little bit of a decline in what we received in the state basic grant from March to April, and that actually is an adjustment all the way back to the beginning of January. So that number should now stay fluid until we receive the October count, and then they'll make those adjustments in the fall as well. And if you look at the graphs, just a reminder that you know, we're close to 96% of the budget from the education fund going towards teachers and staff as it relates to salaries and benefits, and that's where we want that money to go to help educate our children in the best way possible. The revenue that we have received for the number of days of the year so far is at 32.88%, and the actual dollars that we've received is at 32.92%, and we've expended just under that amount, excuse me, at 31.44%. So we are staying well within the budget in the education fund. You will notice in the expenditures from the education fund, an education fund to operations fund transfer, as we do not start receiving any of our our operations funding until tax revenues come in May or June. And so we have to supplement the operations fund at times with some funding from the education fund to offset those delays in funding from our property taxes. So you will see that $3.175 million was transferred from the education fund to the operations fund until those property taxes start to roll in to cover those expenses. If we move to the debt service fund, again, this is a fund that we don't receive any funding for until property taxes are due in June. So nothing is set up to be expended out of that account until June as well. So you see very little activity in the debt service fund. The operations fund, to address a question that Mr. Wall asked last time, if you look at the interest miscellaneous there, the budget order was for $637,500, and we've already received more than $94,000 over the budget order. I shared with Mr. Wall at his request that the reason for that was that the interest rate that we are now receiving on our balance at the credit union increased, and we had to write the budget before that increase came in for our interest, and therefore we're actually earning more money on our dollars in the bank than we had projected based on the previous interest rate. So that's a good thing that we're doing well there. You'll see there in the budget month actual, the miscellaneous transfers, that's that 3.175 from the education fund to help sustain the operations fund until tax revenues start to come in. And again, we've only received about 20% of the revenue, and we've expended about 28%, and that's why we're needing to make that transfer until taxes are applied to that account and we receive those funds. The last fund is the rainy day fund, and if you remember at the last meeting, we talked a little bit about because there was no budget for the rainy day account for 2025, it was in the 2024 budget. Some of those numbers looked a little askew, and that has been finalized now with everything out of the rainy day fund for that project, and we are moving forward with that, and you can see the revised fund balance of almost $4 million in rainy day. If you look at the historical comparisons, you will notice that at the end of March, when we talked last month, we were just over $17 million, and now that balance in the education fund is just under $15 million. Again, that goes back to the transfer of the 3.175 that you can see there that we did in April. And if you look at the operations fund historical comparison, you can see that with that transfer, we're at about $2.5 million. That will sustain us and make payments on any current projects that we have as necessary until June tax revenues come in. So those are the financials. If anyone has any questions, I will entertain those at this time.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Is there any questions? Actually, I'll entertain a motion first about this report.
Make a motion that we approve the April 2025 financial report as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. McClellan.
Not so much a question, but in talking with other governmental entities related to some of the outcomes of the legislative session, there's been a long conversation about maybe starting to sock a little bit more away for rainy day. Just passing that along, I have not heard from school corporations what they're planning on, but I do know that some other governmental entities in Huntington have been having that conversation because no one's quite sure what's going to shake out from some of the legislation coming out. So I would just pass that along to the financial team.
I've been in conversation also. Just so you know, I'm anticipating a meeting sometime this summer with all the governmental agencies getting together. Quite frankly, the rest of the governmental agencies has the wherewithal and the means of raising the funds that they're going to lose, and we do not as the school district. So I appreciate the willingness, specifically of Mayor Strick, for spearheading this to have happen. I don't think what our community understands is that the revenues lost will basically be made up in other means for all of their governmental agencies. However, we do not have that availability to us. And so when I'm working with Mrs. Smith on budget prep coming up here literally next month, we're going to start this process down the road. I can paint a much clearer picture for you at that point in time. I do believe that there is tremendous amount of unintended consequences from this past legislative session financially. I have learned, and I don't hold me to this, I would, for the first time since I can remember, I wouldn't be surprised if the budget may be opened during the short session in January. Now, don't hold me to that, but in a couple of my conversations I'm having, I am hearing that that's a very real possibility at this point in time. We are positioned quite well. Quite frankly, you all have done an enormous job of planning for this day, and the day is probably here for us. I'm not going to paint a doom and gloom picture with this, as you'll notice that we're not making any plans like many school districts around us who have been cutting staff, cutting programming, cutting this. I'm not convinced yet that we can't try to weather this storm creatively through the process. And so I would just say stay tuned, hang in there with us. When Mrs. Smith and I go through the budget for 26 with you, I'm sure there's going to be a laundry list of questions from all of you about how to and moving into the future, but hang in there, we'll get this figured out.
That's why I don't know if you caught it, but in the professional leave, I'm going down to my yearly trek down to Indianapolis for the ISBA IPSS financial seminar. I really am intrigued what's going to come out of that this year. Unfortunately, Dr. DeBoer will not be speaking. If you've ever had the pleasure of hearing Dr. DeBoer speak on financials, it'd be a really great year to hear him, but it's going to be interesting to hear about that, and I'll definitely report back. I think it'll be right after our June meeting, but I will report back from that and let you guys know what I hear. So,
Thank you, Mr. Wall and Mr. Trout. Anyone else say anything further on the financials? Let's vote.
also, thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, for answering my question from last meeting in the email. I did share it with the rest of the board, but thank you for bringing it out for everyone else to hear.
Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to G2, Property and Casualty Insurance. Mr. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. One of the first things that I was tasked with when I moved into this role, Mr. Trout approached me and said that we needed to do an RFP process for our property and casualty insurance, I believe at the request of the school board. And so we have been working on that process. And what I have before you this evening is an engagement letter for insurance consulting services to help us through that process. And you have that document in board docs as well. And there are 8 steps that they recommend through this process. And if approved tonight, I have the assurance of the company that they will be able to get this done, working backward from our renewal date of December 1st and meet all the deadlines for a competitive bid process. So the first thing that they'll do is establish the specs for the bid so that everyone is bidding apples to apples. The second portion of that then is the bid process itself and what that will entail. The third part of that is assigning the markets to the bidders. Fourth will be the agent of record letters that they will provide to those companies that are requesting to bid, so that when they reach out to vendors of property and casualty insurance, they have the right to do that on our behalf. The fifth step is to answer any questions from bidders after the specs and the agent of record letters go out. They will then put all of their recommendations or all of the bids in a spreadsheet with their recommendation based on what we are seeking for our property and casualty insurance. They will double check with the successful bidder that all of the outlined items are actually in the final document, and do that not only virtually but with the hard copy that is submitted, so that we're getting the coverages outlined in the bid specs. So with your approval, we will move forward with that agreement with Insurance Audit out of Indianapolis. They have done work for the district before, and they have also done work for Huntington County for similar purposes for different entities here in the county, and I would recommend that we approve to move forward.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. I'll entertain a motion to reference this item.
Make a motion that we approve the consulting agreement for the RFP.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Heim. Any questions or discussion? I do have one question. This sounds like quite a process. How long does it take to get them through their deal?
So they didn't give me specifics, but they did say working from that December 1st renewal date of our current property and casualty insurance, that we would be able to work back from that and start that process.
So we'll be ready by then.
We will certainly be ready by then. Yeah.
All right.
Will they also be brokering that out to different entities? I'm assuming we'll want Metler to apply, but I also know that there's the insurance, property and casualty insurance trust out there as well. Will we be trying to solicit bids from them, or how will that work?
Yeah, so there have been a handful of vendors that have either reached out to myself or Mr. Trout over the past few months, and I think the other benefit of working with a group like the Insurance Audit Group, they have those avenues where they can get those things out and notice to other companies to bid.
Thank you very much for taking on this Herculean task. So,
absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Wall.
Not quite what he says to me, but that's okay.
And Mr. McLaughlin. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, for being politically correct here. Thank you. Any further discussion? Let's vote on this motion.
I do want to take this opportunity while all of you are voting to say thank you to Mr. McLaughlin. As you can see, he, since his start with us in January, he's doing incredible work. And I'm asking a lot of him, and he's doing it quite well with a willing and gracious heart, I might add. And so, but Pat, thank you. In all seriousness, you're doing an incredible job, so thank you.
Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to policies. H1, policy updates, volume 36, number 1.
Okay, this is for this evening. This is the second reading. I am asking for your approval of all the policy updates, volume 36, number 1. As you can tell, there are quite a few there that we have been through over the last couple of months, so I'm seeking your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'll entertain a motion. Reference this request.
Motion to approve policy updates, volume 36, number 1 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Anybody want a second? Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Any questions or discussion before we vote? This is our second reading, so hopefully you'll have a chance to look at it.
I'm just asking, when are you going to get all the ones from the last legislative update start to roll in? Sorry, Cindy.
No, I was going to jump in. This is a great time. I was going to say this after the next one. As of the next two agenda items, we are completely caught up. Now, we have another group that just came in that's quite lengthy, but we are up to where we should be at this point in time. And I must give credit where credit is truly due with this. Without the help of Mrs. Gray, we wouldn't be sitting here where we're at today. She's been incredible through this entire process. So, and I appreciate all of you. You have been doing a lot of reading on a lot of board policies over the past year, and I'm grateful for all of you and how you've taken it seriously. The work with our attorneys has been incredible through all of this also, so I just want to tell everybody thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Mr. Wall, anything further from anyone? Let's vote on this motion. Motion passes 6 in favor, 1 no. Moving on to item H2, policy updates, volume 36, number 2, and volume 37, number 1, first reading.
Yes, these are first readings. Over the next month, prior to the second reading, if you have any questions or comments about any of these, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk with you about any of these or make any adjustments as necessary, as our legal counsel would advise us to do. And so this is just the first reading tonight. Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Any questions for Mr. Trout, since this is a first reading? You'll have a chance to have a look at it, and it'll come up for a vote next time. Hearing nothing, we'll move on to item I, items of discussion by board members. I'll go ahead and start. The last, I guess, 4 or 5 days, the year-end breakfast was fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Trout, and congratulations to those that were honored. We just have an amazing group of educators in this county that work for this school corporation, and I'm just honored and proud to be able to serve on the board that supports that. So, and then the graduation is honestly the best thing we get to do. Standing there and handing these kids diplomas, they are not confident when they get to the bottom of that ramp. And when they look up at you and they are pretty sure they're not going to make it up that ramp when their name's called, and you look at them, and it always makes me smile because I see the look on their face. It's entertaining. I'm sorry. And when they see me smile, they just rush up there and smile and get that stuff going. It is just the best job we could ever have. Yeah, thank you guys, and Dr. Daggetts did an amazing job getting that thing going. It was smooth, and congratulations to all the graduates.
I would just reiterate the same thing. I've had that conversation. I know I had a conversation with this group about that as well. That is the best job as a school board member you do, is to be able to hand out those diplomas. And you are correct. The look on some of those kids' faces as they're coming up those, it is priceless. And I may be the only one to see it at my group, but it's a wonderful time. And it's great. And I did not mind sharing the stage with some of the other people that came up and handed out diplomas, because I think those kids really enjoyed that as well. I was really happy for Angela to be able to come up and do that. And it's great. So kudos to the team.
Mr. Trout, Mr. Allen, Board, I'd like to take a moment and just interject here. I see a newest employee in the crowd tonight. He's been very patient with us, and I want to welcome Merrill Talbot to our Huntington North team in Tech Ed. I see your wife is here with you, and I just want to acknowledge you here. I saw you here. Tiffany Drummond pointed that out, and I just want to make sure welcome to Huntington North, and thank you for being here tonight.
So So do you have anything you'd like to say to the board while you're here? You didn't know I was going to do this to you either.
I apologize now for what I just did.
I guess the thing I'd like to say is when I first graduated from high school, I actually wanted to be in tech ed. I wanted to be a tech ed teacher. But for a variety of different reasons, I ended up in product design, and I worked in manufacturing for 25 years. And when the opportunity came up where I could get back into tech ed, I said yes. So we're thrilled to have you. I'm happy to be here, and I've worked with a lot of equipment. I can still count to 10. So that says a lot. Well, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, welcome. Anything else from the board? Then we'll move on to item J1. Motion to adjourn from anyone?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. And a second? Thank you, Mrs. Heim. Oh, Mrs. Miller, I'm sorry, you fooled me. All those in favor?